think you're okay, Sabri.
Hold on, let me check. If you guys can hear, can you like send a message in the chat?
I should just stand close to you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Take it.
Jumping all over the place. So today's meeting is going to be about our partner mainly, kind of the region around Social Action for Children and Women, and what they do in that region and the communities they provide services for. So that's going to be led by our partnerships chairs, Jonathan and Sinya. Should be a fun time. But before that, we have some community building. And also, I know on the projector it's not super clear. Don't worry, feel free to ask any questions. But I'm going to pass it on to our.
I'll take it over. I think we're gonna start with a little name thing, a little name situation, just because I feel like seeing everyone in person for the first time is very disorienting, especially since you don't have like your name underneath the little box on your screen. So it's helpful. So I think we're gonna go around and just say your name. I don't want to do the major thing, because that could be repetitive. It could. So let's go around, say your name, your pronouns, and what your favorite color is today. If that changes, it could change by today. I'll go first. My name is Shivani. My pronouns are she, they. And today my favorite color is a dark blue.
Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan. My pronouns are he, him, his, and my favorite color does not change much. I like orange.
Caitlin.
Hi everybody, my name's Noah. I use he, him, his pronouns. My favorite color is always yellow, so I don't think mine ever changes. It's just yellow's my stuff.
My name is Zoe. I go by she for pronouns, and my favorite color is like a lilac.
My name is Brooke. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my favorite color right now is green.
Hi, my name is Grace. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them. And my favorite color is always purple.
Hey, my name is Sunny. I use he, him pronouns, and my favorite color all the time is blue.
Hi guys, my name is Weston. I use he, him, his pronouns, and my favorite color has always been green.
My name is Nate. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm with you down there, Sunny. Blue is always my color.
My name is Krishan, and pronouns are he, him, his, and favorite color has always been green. My name is Rocco. My pronouns are he, him, his. My favorite color is probably like violet.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my favorite color is definitely like a deep green.
My name is Katie, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And today, my favorite color is also dark green.
Hey everyone, my name is Fernora. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my favorite color today is red. Not this red, that red. Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and today my favorite color is probably orange.
Hi people, my name is Emma. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And my favorite color is also a deep green.
Hi everyone, my name's Adam. My pronouns are he and his. And my favorite color today, as always, has always been, I'd say a blue. My last name means the blue in like Arabic, so it's always been blue.
Hey guys, my name is Perry. I go by he, him, his pronouns. My favorite color of all time is black.
What's up, guys? I'm Sam. I use he, him, his pronouns. Favorite color today is orange.
All right. My name is Sabarish. Pronouns are he, him, his. And today I'm feeling a light seafoam green or teal.
My name is Chris. I go by he, him, his pronouns, and my favorite color is orange.
Right.
Got all these people.
Yeah. So if you guys on the Zoom want to go one at a time, saying, hold on, one more person came. You guys want to take turns to say your favorite color, your pronouns, and what your favorite color, your name, your pronouns, and what your favorite color is.
My name is Adi. My pronouns are he/him, and my favorite color is blue.
My name's Akshu. My pronouns are she and her, and my favorite color is purple.
My name's Kanishka. My pronouns are she, her, and my favorite color is black, gray.
My name's Prisha, and I don't have a favorite color because I like them all.
And then Vishnu, you there, bud?
Oh, dang, my bad. My name's Vishnu. My pronouns are he, him. My favorite color is blue.
All right, solid.
Was that all? All right. My name is Neil. My pronouns are he, him, his. My favorite color is orange, but like the light orange, like sunset orange, basically.
Not that orange.
Not that orange.
Nate hates you. I'm a G. My pronouns are he, him, his, and my favorite color is probably like a dark red.
I'm Kirtana. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my favorite color is always black.
Thanks for sharing that with me. I'm now going to count us off to 5, and then have you separate in smaller circles, and then I'll explain the direction. Okay? So when I say 1, you hold up your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will be in the 5th group. And then I'll talk to the Zoom people in a hot second. So we'll have like, don't move yet, but 1's over there, 2's kind of over there, 3's over there, 4's over there, and 5's over there. So what we're gonna do is make a story chain. So basically, someone in your group has to come up with an anecdote that's happened to them lately. So for example, in my little slide here, I have someone gets locked out of their house and has to go to the coffee shop all day to get their work done. And the next person's like, oh, I love coffee. I drink 3 cups every day and I can't go to sleep. And the next person's like, oh, I also can't go to sleep, but because I play video games. And so you try to find things that have related to you. And one person starts with like the first sticky note, and then the thing that connects to it. And the second person does like the corresponding sticky note. And I will come to give you a little pack of sticky notes after you disperse. Does that make sense to everyone? And then we'll come back together and share our story. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh. Can you guys? Wait, can they hear me?
They can hear you, right, guys?
Okay. Alright, I'll turn my video on. Oh, the video is terrible. It's so dark in here.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry, it's so
We
dark
can
in
turn the lights
here. Yeah, turn the lights on. Okay, so we're making what's called a story chain, where how many people are in here? 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, perfect. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have someone come up with something that's happened to them recently. So like, for example, someone could be like, oh, today I went to a coffee shop, and then put that in the group chat, and then whoever has a story or something that's happened to them recently can put whatever's happened to them after that. It'd be like you're making a story chain based on like each other's experiences that you've had recently. Does that make sense? So Bruce will be here to contribute and facilitate this. Here.
Yeah, trying to turn on your face cams helps the community building aspect. Come on, boys. Let's, try to turn on those face cams. All right. Awesome. Awesome. I guess we can start while we're waiting for the other two to turn on their face cams, or if they don't want to, that's fine too. Hi again, I'm Sabarish. And I guess let's get started. Does anyone want to go first, or do you guys want me to go first?
I got this. It was second day of college, or a second day of me being here, and I locked myself out of the room. And I had to get help from like 5 different RAs to get myself back in the room. So, that was awkward, but oh well. So that's mine.
The second week of college, I lost my Bearcat card and my room key. So that is similar because I couldn't get into my room.
My first week of college, I lost my lanyard and it had like everything in it. And I spent like 10 minutes panicking, but then I eventually found it.
Anybody else? All right, let's see. In the last week, I guess on the way back from a trip, I left my keys in like my parents' car, so I had to make them come back. That was unfortunate.
It was the middle of the night and I forgot my keys inside my house and I was like outside. So I had to wake my roommates up to get in.
2 days ago, there was a fire drill and me and my roommate left our keys in our room. So we couldn't get in our room. So we had to go to the front desk and get a key.
Yeah. Always a tough experience. I guess we can keep going with these kinds of things, or if you just want to talk about like just random things off topic. I think still a couple minutes left for this breakout room thing. And I think we're going to be sharing back to the main group. So if you guys want to do that, let me know. So how was everyone's weekend? We can start with that.
Good.
It was good. I got a lot of work done for class, so that was nice.
It was good.
Nice. Are you guys freshmen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're enjoying campus. I know last year's freshmen didn't really get the full experience. But yeah. How are you guys' classes so far?
All right.
All of them are fun except for bio.
Yeah, bio, Kinkle's kind of intense, but
You all have Kinkle?
yeah.
Yeah,
It can be scary sometimes.
he's a cool dude, but yeah, his class is a change of pace from like high school stuff. What major are you guys in?
Med Sci.
Med Sci.
Oh,
Is everybody not from Med Sci? No? All right, that's cool. I'm also from Med Sci. I'm a third year in Med Sci. Yeah. Cool program.
Wait, so all of your stuff is on Med Campus this year, right?
Mine for I organized my schedule so that all of them are at main campus. Yeah. So it's nice, but yeah. Classes are getting pretty hard. OChem is like the big kind of weed out sort of class.
How hard was OChem? Like,
So
actually,
I took mine in over the summer with adjunct professors. So it was like harder and easier because all of OChem 1 and 2 for me were squeezed into 2 months. So the tests were like a little bit like faster paced and like kind of more multiple choice based and like drawing. But at the same time, only like a week to study for each test. So there are pros and cons. I know for others, they have like all written tests. And there's like a lot of like weird memorization stuff you have to do. But it's definitely going to be a change of pace from like regular classes, I'd say. It's a pretty difficult class. But most professors curve pretty heavily, so that should keep you fine. I guess another question is, where are you guys originally from?
Oh, Cincinnati.
Nice.
Milford.
Nice.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Westchester.
Nice. I think there's one more person, but I'm from Louisville, Kentucky as well. Yep. Yeah. Did you guys attend the like kind of introductory meeting last week?
Oh no, I missed it.
Yeah, I also missed that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, me too.
It's just like yesterday was just like kind of like a chill meeting. It was very short, maybe like an hour, maybe less. It was mostly just community building and introducing our committees. If anybody has any questions, they can ask it. But this meeting is going to be out like our partner. Basically, GlobeMed works with like each GlobeMed chapter works with like a certain partner, and we always keep working with that partner. So ours is like SAW, Social Action for Women and Children, and you're going to learn a lot more about them in today's like GHU. Are you guys always planning on attending hybridized meetings, or are you planning on coming to the in-person meetings?
I'm planning on doing in person. I just decided to do virtual today to see what it was like.
Yeah, that's fine. It's always good to we always like we think it's a good idea to offer this virtual option just in case for people who can't make it or like at home and still want to be part of like the group. So yeah, the in-person meetings are like fun though, super fun. It's a nice experience. My first year I was able to
Wait,
do it.
how long is the meeting?
Yeah, so most meetings usually end by like 8-ish. Yeah.
All right.
Earlier, but no longer than 8 usually.
All right.
Pretty lengthy. It's usually like 30 minutes of community building and general announcements. This is like beginning and end. And then in the middle we have like our specific committee like leading some kind of like discussion. This week is going to be partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you guys know about the committees?
No.
Okay, that's fine. I think one of the slides on this thing, one of the parts is going to be mentioning the committees. So page into that. Usually we encourage members, like new members to start joining committee. Because I think, in my opinion, that gives like the best GlobeMed experience. Yeah, you'll be learning more about them in a little bit. So, you guys watching any TV shows or anything? Has anybody watched like Shang-Chi? Any good movies?
Planning on watching that next weekend. I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I watched it already. Amazing movie. 10 out of 10. Would definitely. It's nice. What else are you guys watching, if anything at all?
I've been watching the What If series from Marvel.
That's solid too. I've been enjoying.
I think it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely a change of pace. The first episode was kind of rushed in my opinion, but the other ones are pretty solid. Anybody else?
Or are we just talking about like TV shows?
Right now, we're just talking about like I'm just trying to start some conversations because we finished.
I've been watching Money Heist on Netflix. That's a good TV show.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard of that. Solid, solid. Anybody else? All right. In that case, I was starting to watch this show called Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. It's like a kind of true crime mixed with like entertainment kind of TV show. Pretty good. You guys in any think of joining any of their clubs or enjoying any of their clubs?
Yeah, I'm in the spike ball thing, and then I'm also trying out this one, Health for the Homeless. That's like also volunteering, but for the local area.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm trying to not like stretch myself too thin.
That's a good idea. Definitely like know your limits. It's fun to join a bunch of clubs, but it's once classes start coming, it's just like it's good. Speaking of local stuff, we just got our first like all Glowman chapters have a like what's it called, an out of country partner, and for us that's SAW. But we also just got like a local partner. They're called Weightless Anchor. You'll hear more about them in one of the future meetings as well by Service and Advocacy. Anybody else? Do you guys have any questions about GlowMed or MedSci or like anything in general?
Yeah, so like with GlowMed, what is it like that we do? Do we like go do outreach for like other countries or stuff, or what?
So the main goal of the chapter is to raise like okay. The main goal of the chapter is to we have like a bunch of events. The main goal is to like fundraise for our little partner, which is SAW. Usually the goal is 10,000 to 15,000 a year, and we do that through many special events. We're wrapping up now, but you'll learn about more in a bit.
Right.
Let's share back to the group. I think we're going to share back to the main group. Anyone want to volunteer? There's like 6.
Hi guys. They can hear us, right?
Yeah, they can hear you. That's a Jeep.
All right. So I feel like I'm running behind already, so I'm going to. Is there a group that
Just on
wants
my
to go
video.
first and share their story?
I'm gonna stop because the
All right. Let's
screens are kind of. Okay, guys, I'm gonna start my video. For anyone wants to share that.
Okay, so my bro left a broken toy on the floor, and me, being witness to this, I was taking a nap. I got up, saw on the floor, and a rusted nail got right up.
How deep?
Doesn't matter.
So I also have a brother who I got into fights with, and One time we got into a fight and he stuck a pencil up my nose, and now I have permanent vision.
Okay, I also have a brother, and like he's a lot older than me, so I don't have like many memories with him. But one of my memories with him is him like putting me in a trash can and like closing the lid on me. So that was like very traumatizing. But,
Speaking of garbage cans, hiding behind a garbage can last month.
No more context on that.
And the millipede went up my ankle. Yeah, I'm scared. That was frightening.
And then I finished up the story because there was a cockroach in my bathtub the other night, and I had to spray it with Raid. And it died there, and I had to pick it up. How did I get here? All right, who wants to go next? Should I pick someone? Do you want me to do this? Because I will. All right, Jonathan, what did you come up with?
Well,
I will say the story. Okay, Grace, I love that. Okay, so the first thing is, someone is really allergic to most furry animals. Someone else said, I love furry animals. I've read.
We don't
Oh, sorry, Pop. When I was one, I took a picture with my favorite dog. I love dogs so much, I convinced my parents to get one, and so I trained her. And then my granddad had a dog named Beagle. That was a beagle for almost 20 years. I love the ending of that one. Noah?
I guess as we go through, whoever is referring to, just like raise your hand.
I wrote down names on mine.
Okay,
so I
perfect.
can just write down names. Cool. So we started out with Perry saying that he was in a Zoom call recently and didn't know he was muted. So he said a bunch of stuff.
Didn't know he was unmuted.
He was unmuted and said a bunch of stuff and didn't realize it. And that led to Ajit saying, I can't use him. And he's just like, was having a bunch of problems with it recently. And then we were talking about things we hate. So then Katie said that she hates being on the 9th floor and when people on the 1st floor are using elevators, because then you gotta like wait forever, right? So that's not fun. Then we started talking about elevators some more, and Weston said that the DAP elevators are basically mobile closets, which is honestly true. If none of you have ever been in the DAP building, they're pretty bad. We went back to Ajit, where he said the Van Warmer building, because we were talking about buildings on campus, have super nice bathrooms.
Don't tell anyone.
It's near Teachers College. Teachers College is insanely nice. They have a bunch of money. It's almost like Linder. Like, you know, when you walk in Linder, you're like, this place is nice. Teachers College is the same. But don't tell people, because then more people will go there, and then we can't enjoy it.
That's a very scarcity mindset. So I think. All right, so then we continued our bathroom conversation. And Weston added that he loves the Dyson hand bathroom dryers, once you like stick your hands in. Let's face it, those are the best. Let's see. That's right. And I added that at my apartment, every time I flush the toilet, it whistles. Like, it works fine, but it just makes a high-pitched noise after you flush it for like a good 10 seconds and then stops. And it took me like a week and a half or 2 weeks to figure it out. Like, it was absolutely insane. Cool. Oh, and then Perry, continuing the bathroom conversation, said that he had a layover in Japan, and they have really cool bathrooms, and they all have like bidets with buttons and stuff, and so it's really cool. And then we went to bidets after this. Right, naturally.
Of course, that's where you would go. So Ajit mentioned that he installed a bidet at his sister's house recently.
She likes it.
And then I was like, oh wait, that's right. Ajit's sister hosts trivia at Murphy's Pub, and a lot of Globe Med veterans go there. And then we like have won trivia 3 weeks in a row.
Do you not understand how insane that is?
How much money have you guys had?
200.
Okay. 203?
Wait, how much do we have left, or how much have we won in total and spent? We get $80 every week.
So then we spend it because it's a gift card.
Yeah, so we spend a bit of it.
So we haven't spent money though while we're there.
We didn't spend money. Yeah, we just subsidize it with winning.
Put it all on the line, so we need to win.
All right. And then we were talking about like just answering questions and stuff and switched to exams. So Perry had a social exam recently that he did really well on. And then Katie has a bio exam coming up soon in Kinkle's class. So then we started talking about Dr. Kinkle. we all agreed that Dr. Tinkle can be kind of rude sometimes, right? Like he's never on class, he's got business, but
A little bit.
sometimes you see what he says, you're like, I don't know, man, that seems a little far. Yeah, and then we continued that with everyone basically agreeing that he really do be kicking people out of his classroom. That is where we ended. You know?
That's a good ending. All right, who do we have left? Who I see you holding?
So I have the first one. What's your name again?
Zoe.
Zoe. Okay. Zoe's story started, and she found a shopping cart. She hopped into it for some reason, and then her roommate drove her into the front yard and just like started carting her around everywhere. And speaking of things you shouldn't do, reminded me of this weekend when I went home to a little town Noah and I both live in. We pranked one of my friends by stuffing his truck with like thousands of packing peanuts, just like dumping all those in the truck so we could clean that up instead of being on time to work.
Okay, speaking of peanuts, I learned the other day that microwaving them releases a toxic, potentially deadly gas. I'm mixing these up. Sam said, I microwaved something, a bowl of soup, a half hour ago, and it was so bad I couldn't eat it. Sadly.
So bad. So bad.
And then Kirtana said, I couldn't eat the Thai food I ordered yesterday. It was way too spicy and I kept sweating when I ate it. It was still pretty good Thai food.
And then Zoe went to the football game yesterday and she said she couldn't stop sweating. And the sun was directly on her the whole time. The audacity of the sun. And then we basically collectively agreed that we all absorbed a lot of radiation this weekend. So,
That's a good, what we do, I guess. What do you do?
Cool. Okay, so I started off the story with about like a week ago. So I live in like this like 3-story-ish house in Clifton with 4 other roommates, and I share a wall with one of my roommates. We have like these huge windows and like a roof that like you definitely can't stand on, but you can like sit on it and like chill, right? So I also have a key that I was like, oh, I wonder if my key locks my door. And then I like leave my room and I'm like, it does lock my door, but it doesn't open my door. So then I lock myself out of my bedroom. And I was like, how the heck do I get like, back in? All of my things are in there and like most of my roommates are not home. So I snuck into my roommate's room. I opened up their window. I crawled on the roof just to see if I could open my window from the outside. And I was just like trying out to fall off my roof, and I like had to use my palms to just like work the window open, and then I stumbled into my room and got out. And then somebody else had the story after that.
So speaking of climbing on roofs and other things, so my brother and I were trying to see how far we could throw like a tennis ball, but of course my brother doesn't choose like an overhand throw. He chooses an underhand throw. For some reason, throws it straight up, goes behind his head, goes and hits the roof and rolls into the gutter. I was like, damn it. So I go up to my room and then I open the window, crawl onto the roof, and then I use like a broomstick to push the ball out of the gutter.
Then my first thought when I heard gutters
Tell us.
I mean, it was clowns. Like, my first thought was the movie It. Clowns just like luring people to the gutter. And yeah, so that was, I heard gutter and I was like, clowns right away. Bowling? That's what Sunny said. I thought clowns.
And then talking about clowns, our 9th grade, or at least my 9th grade, clowns were popping off. Like everyone was just dressing like clowns, scaring people like clowns. And so my freshman year in high school, after a football game, me and my friends were just walking out, and there were just 3 clowns just standing there in the street. And they were like just looking at us, and we were kind of freaked out by that. So pretty traumatizing.
I get it. Like when I was in middle school, there were clowns that would like go next to this outside in the parking lot of our school. So they would like announce that we can't go outside and we had to have to do a recess for a few weeks until it settled down.
Scary time when that movie came out. But yeah, that's all we had.
Is that? I'm forgetting one group. Emma's. You guys go?
virtual group?
Zoom group, yes, that's what I was making sure.
All right. Anyone want to start? I was hold up 1 second. It was Adi who went first, I think, right? Or Vishnu.
Hey, yo, I got this. So, I on the second day of me being here, I managed to lock myself out of my own room, and it took 5 RAs and a walk across the whole campus to get myself back in the room. So that was a really great way for me to just familiarize myself with everything. So that's a recent experience.
And then who was next? I believe someone said they. Okay.
So my experience relating to that was my second week. I lost my Bearcat card and my room key. So I just went the whole week without it. And then I found it in my friend's car underneath the driver's seat.
And I was next. I just said that like on my one of my first days in UH, we were like having really like some troubles like getting the keys and stuff. And so like I left my keys in my parents' cars because I had to I went back and forth during the summer. And then I had to make them like come back like after 30 minutes and bring back the keys because I realized I forgot them. And to preface this, like the room was unlocked before I came in because my roommate was there. So yeah, that was fun, except not for them.
My experience related to that was my first week here. I was in Scioto visiting a friend, and I actually lost my lanyard, and I walked like all around Sigma looking for them, and then I realized it was at the front desk of Scioto.
So recently, like 2 days ago, I think, there was a fire drill in like a fire evacuation in Scioto at 1 a.m. So me and my roommate forgot our keys in our room. So we had to get a key from the front desk.
There is, but Kanishka, is there? I think she was having connection issues before, so maybe not.
A lot of people got locked out. Very good school year.
Let me know, let us know if they pop back on.
All right. All right. You guys cool with moving on? Gonna take that as a yes.
Thank you, dope. Thanks, Shivani, for that fun community builder. So you want to start recording?
Oh, it's been recording. It's been recording.
Oh, it's been recording. Oh, awesome. Good work. Yeah. We're gonna pass off to. First, we're gonna talk about committees really quickly. Some of you may not have been in GlobeNet last week, but we kind of ran through what the committees were and what they did. It's not gonna show up there very well. But basically, this is Shivani. She's our community building chair. Elizabeth's one of our communication design chairs with Brooke. They handle our communication design. Jonathan and Cynthia are about to present for partnerships, and they share a lot about what we do in our partnerships. They communicate with our partner contact, ATL. You'll hear a bit about them in a bit. Maria and Ariba and Ariba's not here, but Maria, Ariba, and Kirsten are all our campaigns team. So Maria's our donor relations coordinator. Do you want to tell them a bit about what that is?
Yeah, I think you'll learn more about it as you go through the year, but I think just to like summarize what campaigns does is we raise money for SAW to go towards their needs, and that primarily goes to the community health outreach program, which you'll also learn more about, so don't get overwhelmed. But yeah, it's a really fun committee because we just get to hang out and you can visit a lot at my house, pretty much, and then just plan really cool fundraisers.
So with gender relations specifically, we have a really cool individual giving fundraiser where you'll hear lots more about it later.
Excellent.
Cool.
Welcome back, Maria. Here has our benefited cheer, which is a subset of campaigns.
Basically the same thing what Maria said, but I have a fundraiser event in the spring where we just have this huge benefit dinner. So
Big old fancy dinner. It's really fun.
Very
You'll hear-
fancy, very cool. We had charcuterie boards last year on Zoom, which was very awesome. And yeah, something to definitely look forward to.
And you'll hear about it a lot as time approaches. We talk about it all the time. We have our external committee, which is Emma, and I guess Naga's not here tonight, but Emma and Naga. So you want to talk about external?
Yeah, so external is mainly focused on educating outside of GoldMed, as well as inside GoldMed too, but we focus primarily on educating like the UC community or the Cincinnati community. And so stuff that we're trying to work on this year is like tabling, like educational events, like HIV awareness or like LGBTQ awareness. And we also have like a community health speaker series every year where we talk about things like health disparities, and we have like leaders from the community or just anywhere. We had, I think, a couple like from out of state last year. So yeah, that's mainly what we focus on.
Yeah, cool. And then we also have internal GHU, which is led by Subarish and Tripura, who's also the same thing that a number of your members are. So we have a couple of gaps. You'll hear about them next week when they present in chapter. But they do a lot of presentations in chapter.
GHU is actually a G.
Okay, GHUs, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Tommy.
No problem. Always happy to help.
Political correctness is good. And then last but not least, I think, our search and advocacy committee. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we're a little bit similar to partnerships. Last year was our first year working with Weightless Anchor. It's a day shelter in East Priceville. They do mostly drop-in services, and you'll learn a lot about them throughout the semester. So that's something really novel. Most GoldMed chapters don't have a local partner. I believe only one of their chapters does, and they don't have a global partner. So we're the only chapter with a local and a global partner, and that's really cool. You'll get to do a lot of new work. You kind of set the trail for what we're going to do with Weightless Anchor, and they're expanding right now into a burning center and a bunch of other services. So it's a really exciting time. Please join. Joanna's a lot of fun. She's not here though.
Yeah, so we have, I got through all the committees, right? I introduced all of them. And you'll hear from all of them more and more through the talk. But yeah, there's a lot of ways for you to get involved in GoldMed. You just have to find out what you like. So with that, I'm going to pass on partnerships.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, I'm Jonathan. I, along with Simia, are the co-directors for partnerships this semester or this academic year. And so, as my own thing, partnership is a word that's very important to us here at GoldMed. You can hear us using that quite a lot. So, we're going to talk a little bit today about our global partner, which is our main sort of reason for being here at GoldMed, our main reason for holding these chapter meetings, and the main reason we try to raise $10,000 every year to support our global partner. So our global partner is SAW, that stands for Social Action for Women and Children. They are located in Mae Sot, Thailand. We have a map here so you guys can get a sense for where that is. So that's right up here in Thailand. This is Myanmar, or also known as Burma. So there's been an ongoing refugee crisis in Burma with lots of migrants fleeing into neighboring countries, primarily Thailand and then also Bangladesh up in the top left. Top province is the larger province that our partner serves. And then Mae Sot is the smaller community that they're located in, and there's several refugee camps within 10 to 30 miles of that area. SAWS helps serve people that are living in those camps and also are transiting through the border on their way to other parts of Thailand. So here you can see a different section of the map. So this is Mae Sot and then Pokhara as well. These are the two regions that are served. You can see that they're right here along the Myanmar border. So especially at this point, there's a lot of border crossings because there's not as many natural barriers for migrants once they're moving into Thailand. This is a picture of the farming regions around SAW. So you'll hear a little bit more about some of the programs that SAW runs, but this is just to give you an idea of what the landscape looks like. It's very arable land, sort of hilly. This is a day with like very good weather, so we made for a nice now we want to talk a little bit about what's driving people to leave Burma. So as I mentioned, there's been an ongoing refugee crisis. So that started back in the late 50s, early 60s. So once Burma gained independence from Britain, there were a lot of problems that always happened with these sudden sort of pushes for independence. The Karen, which is an ethnic group in Burma, armed opposition to struggle for equality and self-determination. This led to the longest ongoing conflict in the world in Burma between armed ethnic groups and the Burmese military. We're still seeing a lot of the effects of this conflict even today. We'll be talking about that a little bit more later on as well. The conflict has steadily been getting worse with continuous military campaigns against ethnic civilians. Primarily, you're going to see campaigns against the Rohingya, which a couple slides ahead. The Rohingya Muslims, who are one of the more persecuted groups within the larger Burmese area. And so primarily these migrants have been from Bangladesh and into India, and then also across borders. But if you may have, if you've been following the news recently, you may have heard about the coup that recently happened in Myanmar. On February 1st, 2021, the military seized control after a democratic election. So the military junta took over from Aung San Suu Kyi, who has been the leader of the country for several decades. They ousted her. I think they're still not entirely sure where she is at the moment, but she is operating a shadow government at the moment, and they recently declared war against the military junta, calling for an armed people's revolution in the country. This is going to be a quick explainer about, just give you a brief catch up on what's been going on.
The hard-fought battle for democracy in Myanmar has taken an ominous turn. In the early hours on Monday, the military announced it has seized power. Troops are patrolling the streets. Democratically elected politicians have been arrested. Eric Sorensen explains why the coup happened now and what it means for Myanmar's future.
An elected politician is taken away. The internet cut off. The military suddenly everywhere on the streets of the capital. And then confirmation on state TV. A state of emergency is set for 1 year, he says. Governance is handed over to the commander-in-chief. Min Aung Hlaing on the left was sworn in. The democratically elected leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, is in custody and has not been seen. The international community has called for her immediate release.
It's just outrageous. It's deeply disturbing. There's a lot that we don't know. But what we do know is that democracy has been overturned by the generals.
For 60 years, the military has pulled the strings of power in Myanmar, also known as Burma. Aung San Suu Kyi campaigned for democratic reform and spent almost 15 years under house arrest. When Suu Kyi led her NLD party to a second landslide victory last fall over the military-backed party, military leaders declared fraud.
I think the military realized that this conflict was real and she wasn't going to go away.
It's another defining moment for Aung San Suu Kyi. She won the Nobel Peace Prize as a reformer. But when the military attacked Rohingya Muslims in 2017 amid charges of ethnic cleansing, Suu Kyi's inaction and her defense of the military before the international court splintered her reputation worldwide. In Canada, Suu Kyi had been recognized with rare honorary citizenship, then became the first to have that honor revoked. But Suu Kyi has always been popular in her country. Bob Rae was the Prime Minister's envoy to Myanmar.
You're going to get a strong reaction. She's in power because of the democratic movement, as imperfect as it is. And that democratic movement is not going to suddenly disappear.
The streets are mostly quiet in Myanmar, people long accustomed to the military running things with brutality. Our country, says this student leader, is just a bird learning to fly. Now the army has broken our wings. And a fledgling democracy overnight has been silenced. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.
All right, so that is a very, very large issue that we are doing our best to help play a small part in. So if there are any questions right now, anything that the video said that anybody wants a little bit more clarification on, can you just turn off the speaker in between? I'm sorry, it's really hard. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Quite a lot of noise. Just a pause to digest that. Anything that you've seen or heard in the news that maybe you want to share with the group as well. Any questions you have that might add to this discussion about our partner. Just give you guys some space for that.
Yeah, do you have any recommendations for apples to read out about this?
Well, so there's been a lot of problems getting actual information out of Myanmar. So a lot of the information that's being circulated is on social media. So if you are following any of the e-board members on Instagram, you may see us reposting from the Boys in Myanmar book. If you could get something like that on our Instagram, that might be good. So that is a group of people, youth, young adults in Myanmar who've been on the front lines of the revolution since it started in February. They've been documenting their own struggles as they travel from city to city, as they work with different protest groups. And it's really just a first-hand view of what it's like to actually be living under this regime. It's really interesting. They have really interesting takes on what's happening. And we have some former e-board members who graduated recently who knew people who knew them and knew them personally. So there's also a personal connection for a lot of people I've met. We also want to talk a little bit about what exactly happened that led to the founding of SAW. So as I said, it's been
the hard-fought battle for.
This has been an ongoing refugee crisis for several decades. Ai Mar is the woman here who founded SAW about 20 years ago. She herself was a Burmese refugee that fled during the earlier rounds of refugees. And here she is telling a little bit about her own story and how she eventually founded SAW.
And 50 years. လွန်ခဲ့တဲ့19နှစ်လောက်က19နှစ်လောက်ကပေါ့နော်ထိုင်းမြန်မာနယ်စပ်မှာဒုက္ခရောက်တဲ့လူသမီးတွေကလေးငယ်တွေရှိတယ်အဲ့တော့အဲ့ဒီကလေးငယ်တွေလူသမီးတွေအတွက်ဒီစိုးဒီထောင်တယ်
Can you guys read the caption?
It's kind of difficult. Like, you can like do better to like read them out loud.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So for over 19 years, there have been many problems along the Thai-Burma border, especially among the women and children. We found it strong. I am from Yangon, the former capital of Burma. I completed high school but could not attend university due to the political situation. Before I formed the SAW organization, I participated as a student in the 1988 student protest in Burma. I had to leave the city and go to the Liberty Lines in the ethnic areas. I joined the Association of Scientists, Developers, and Faculties, ASDF, student organization, and was a teacher and communicator with them. In 1999, I started to work as a journalist for Voice of America. I was living in the territory controlled by armed ethnic groups. So I started reporting on news for programs that help women, especially gender-based violence relief programs. Yeah, normally we have this overhead projector that's a lot clearer, but unfortunately today we're working with this. So hopefully in the future we won't have this problem.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit about the actual services that SAW provides and why they're such a vital part of the community. So in Burma, there is no job opportunity, no social welfare, and no safety. So many people are coming into Thailand to look for jobs. Human trafficking and other social issues are present. The Burmese migrant workers will stay longer here going forward, so this population will remain and we will stay around to help. The international community has realized that Burma has reformed, but in reality there has not been any change and there has not been any reform. For example, we can look at the ethnic territory and there is still a state of civil war. There is no peace, no safety, and no security. The political situation is bad and the economy is bad. There has been no improvement in the economy, and that is why there is so much migration. In the present, people are trying to escape and flee from Myanmar to the neighboring countries looking for work. 10% of the population has migrated. In 2015, international donors encouraged SAW to relocate to inside of Burma. If we relocated, they would continue their funding, especially USA. This video was filmed in 2019, so that was before the coup that happened earlier this year. So you can just imagine that if that was the same in 2019, things would only continue to get worse. We continue to hear from our partner contact, ATL, I saw, who we hear a lot about as you keep coming back to Burbank. And he tells us a little bit about his family that still lives in Myanmar, about the hardships they're going through, about his own village, and about what the life in the military dictatorship looks like to them. All right, so we're going to break out into some discussion groups again. So these are the questions. Hopefully you can read those. If not, I will put them in the group chat so you guys can look at them on your phones. Hopefully you're all in the group chat so you can actually see them. But I'm going to count you off into groups at 5 again. We'll start somewhere else. Hopefully you guys have a different group to get to know each other. All right, Sam, you want to start with 1? 3, 4. Well, you do the same group, I guess. So right, just not 4. 4. All right, awesome. So we'll have the same setup. So 1's over there, 2's over here, 3's over here, 4's over there, and 5's over there. All right. So,
Lights on for a second?
yeah, we can.
All right, so let's turn on our face cams again and get to discussing. Is everyone else here? Right. All right, so sorry about the videos. It's a little bit hard to play them. The main meeting is also going on. Ideally, we want to put the presentation on the main meeting, but like this week is like a little difficult. Some technical issues, you see. But I guess let's just start with the discussions. So if you were living on the Thai-Burma border right now, how would you want to help people who are fleeing Burma?
You want to like take them in, right?
Anybody else there to contribute?
I'd say like maybe like find a place that they could get like refuge or something like that. Maybe in like another country or maybe somewhere within. Maybe like a safer part of the country, like within.
Sure. Anybody else? All right, I can talk about a little bit. Let's see. If I was living like in that border, I'd want to. It's a complicated discussion because I mean, sometimes it's difficult to say like what you can or can't do since you're just a person fighting kind of against like some governmental societal change. I'd want to like set up kind of like refugee or asylum camps to try to help people and see if I can like move them into Thailand over time. Ideally, that would be the best way, or an even better way would be to like calm down the transgressions that are happening inside like Burma too.
I feel like some of the challenges that the Burmese people leaving would face is having to deal with, well, A, having almost nothing and going to a new place, and then B, having that new place be different than what you're used to. Like a person fleeing from the US to like Britain wouldn't really have as much of an impact.
I think what's especially concerning is that there's a lot of animosity against the refugees when they first reach Burma. A lot of people are actively trying to deport them and send them back as well, which they're already facing enough hardships as it is, but they have to avoid any military presence, any police presence, and there's no support structures for when things go wrong.
Anybody else have anything else to add? Thoughts or comments? All right, we can move on to the next question then. So what challenges do you think people face when they leave Burma? Jonathan just talked about one of these. There's also obviously like some like angsty feelings from the Thai people towards like refugees. Anybody else have any thoughts?
What are some of the like social issues that you might see with losing a large chunk of your population to a large chunk of your population becoming refugees, and especially the impact that might have on communities that are still in Burma?
Like, again, like the challenges would be dealing with a new area, having nothing, and then having to leave so many people that you know behind, and those people having to cope with that, void. Yeah.
Yeah, the void is a good point, especially if you have an entire generation of mostly young, mostly economically active people leaving your region. Then it makes it much more difficult to, start businesses, to keep, say, schools functioning, to grow your city or your town into the next generation taking over. And so this has a lot of problems both for people who are leaving Burma to go to Thailand to find safety, but also for the family that they're leaving behind.
Yeah, complicated situation throughout. There's effects like leaving from Burma and going towards like another country too, like trying to find a job or like even like just having to survive in like another place, right? Any other thoughts?
Adi or Ikshita or Kanishka, do you guys have anything you'd like to add?
No, not really.
All right, we can move on to the next question then. How do you think political conflicts relate to health equity?
So like say in a dictatorship, if you don't really support the dictator, it could be a lot harder for you to get access to resources like healthcare and stuff. So like that's like a major, huge, extreme example. But like I feel like I don't know, like even now, like in the US, for example, healthcare is like such a political topic that depending on which party is in control, you could either see advances in any direction regarding that.
Yeah, those are good points. And you mentioned like the two like kind of vague areas that this question can like relate to, whether it's like just pure political stuff like between like socialized or like private insurance, or whether it's like some like a war conflict kind of thing. Like how would that affect it? Have any of you guys heard about supply chains? Anybody else? Adi, Ikshita, or Kanishka?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Vishnu said. I feel like when there's political conflict, there's more focus on like whatever the conflict is, and there's less focus on kind of like the general good and stuff with like policies relating to like health equity. So I feel like it can kind of like hinder it.
Yeah, and then that kind of plays a role into what I was saying about supply chains. Basically, when there's like big like conflicts, political conflicts, or even like for example, this pandemic, supply chains are the transfer of like goods and services throughout the country. Health is a good and a service, right? So any conflict that can like affect those supply chains will affect health as well. Like, you think someone like waging a war is going to care about like keeping up with mandatory vaccines or anything? That's like a good example. Do you guys have any other examples you can think of that? There are a couple. Do you guys know about the social determinants of health? All right, we'll learn about them more in a sec, but basically, there are a bunch of different things that play into health that are not directly affected to medicine. Some examples are like education, good nutrition, having a good social network. Those are all things that play into health. And obviously, in political conflicts, things like food insecurity and education might be thrown under the bus in preference for these like political conflicts. So those things can be affected too, which can decrease health more than just like the medical supply chains. Anybody else have any other thoughts on the last question? How do you think political conflicts relate to health equity? Mikshita or Kanishka? You guys can enter the chat too if you're like unable to like speak.
All right, everybody, if we could come back into the big circle. Hope you guys had some good discussions. We've got still a little bit more material to cover, so.
Discussion.
I will. You're not playing.
How do I know? Big case.
Feeling your
I have maximum protection. Yeah.
Alright, if you can't hear me, just feel free to speak out anytime you interrupt me. But I heard some really good discussion, and now I'm going to talk about a partner style, which I started thinking at, and yeah, you're going to see how the style works. So what SOT is social action for children and women. And essentially, I think of it as this big umbrella that follows the main areas of protection, education, and awareness. And they have a lot of programs and shelters to really follow their mission. But when SAW was originally founded, it was to help displaced women from Myanmar and provide shelter, education, awareness, counseling, and training. But since then, they've really expanded. And as we go through more presentations, you're going to see how they've grown and are still growing to, like now they're helping orphans and migrants. When I came to Thailand, I saw similar cases, so I was more motivated to found this organization. I arrived in Mesa in 2000. When I arrived, I saw so many women and children in need and in difficulty. So I came up with the idea to make the organization, and especially the safe house for the children. Before I came to Mesa, I also occasionally came to Mesa to get treatment. The student army might have injuries or illnesses, so I visited the Mesa clinic. And MTC, located in Mesa, is a free health clinic for Burmese migrants. I saw how MTC and other social work passed just treating the patients. Some of the patients came from a far distance to get to MTC. Some patients couldn't get access to vital care due to the distance and legal barriers, so I decided to start SOT. Most of the people who started SOT were also revolutionaries and political activists. Some of the founders have already basically this is just about the beginning and what We need to maintain our health education programs in order to increase education among the various migrant workers community. We know that migrant workers move from place to place according to their jobs. We will see new faces at each top workshop. It's crucial we continue community health outreach programs to what CHOP stands for. There is no time for them to gain education. They have to focus on survival for their families. If staff can go to the communities to provide critical health education, it will be very beneficial for migrants. This year it was the rainy season, so according to the Ministry of Health, there has been already 14 patients that have passed away from dengue. So that is just a little intro to So yes, CHOP workshops stand for Community Health Outreach Program, and essentially this is the big thing that Women at UC funds really, and we raise about 10 to 15,000 every year to fund these workshops. And so essentially what they do is they train these community-based peer educators who hold these workshops and educate these migrants about health education topics relating to women's health, sex education, personal hygiene, and honestly anything under that category. And a main goal of theirs is to reduce HIV and AIDS transmission and also provide these migrants with protection like birth control and then we have the youth shelter. As seen in the name, it's a shelter for the youth, and this is where the kids are. And a huge issue is child trafficking. So it really provides a place for them to stay, and there are programs for the youth. So then we have the healthcare house, which is a center, the only center in ASOP for HIV positive women and children. And this really provides sustainable physical treatment and mental health treatment too. And so they have antiretroviral treatment, which has been recognized in with the UNDP Red Ribbon Award in 2008. But they also have counseling, and there's the income generation project, which I'll talk about later. But essentially, this house really does provide a safety net for those that are HIV positive, as well as help them become functioning members of society and really empower them. So, income generation program, I hinted at it before. So essentially, it is a way for people at the shelter to generate an income. And so what they do is they learn these vocational skills on like how to make, well, in this case, how to make like bags, clothes, jewelry. I think we sell them, used to sell them, and no one has a laptop case.
Simeon.
There's a table full of stuff.
Oh, there's a table full of
We got all the new items for this year from the
Yes.
charity program.
And so this is a really empowering way to help people there because they're learning these skills, they're learning to be independent, and they're also generating an income. And this is the Cell Migrant Learning Center. So this is where the kids go to school and learn. And essentially what Cell does is they teach them, but they also help them get their GED and pursue higher education too. And that's just important for college and just things like that. So we're gonna break off into this again, probably a little shorter this time.
I actually think since we're running a little behind, can we just do this in the main group for like 5 minutes?
Oh yeah,
That'd be cool.
I think that'll be good. So is what did you find most surprising or interesting about God's approach? And what is one thing you learned about?
was the question again? Sorry. What did you find most surprising or interesting about SAW's approach?
Like there's different like solution ways, like you talk about education, communication, and different like opportunities for children to pursue that.
That's really good. Yeah, because I remember the kids talked about like the different things that they think SAW really does work to address that. So just for the time, I'm gonna move on to the next one. What is one thing you learned about a partner? Kind of broad.
I kind of learned that instead of just like giving them like things or teaching them how to like sustain themselves.
Really good. Why is it important for us to be involved with SAW? So I briefly went through this, but a big thing that we do is raise money for Top Shot. A little hint.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how like they're funding so many programs that we're able to help them at all, that they want our help. You'll hear about this late in the semester, but we do like communicate with people at SAW pretty often. It's really cool that enjoy these calls too. I mean, I think if I was an adult, I would want to talk to 20-year-olds. They really appreciate our opinions, and we learn a lot from them. So it's a really cool, like friendly relationship.
Yeah.
So like when I think about this question, personally, like the way that I take this question is not just like why is it important that we help SAW, but why is it that we pick SAW in general, and why not other organizations, right? Like why do we fundraise for SAW and not other random organizations? And one of the things that is important about our partnership in GlobeNet is that it is more at a grassroots level, meaning it's local community leaders who help out, right? So one of the reasons that we got partnered with SAW is because they're local in their community and they understand the issues in their community much better than we would, or than some giant international or national organization would. And so for me, I think it's important that we help those organizations more so, because a lot of times because they're smaller, they don't get much funding from the government, right? Because it's like their impact isn't as much. It's kind of how it is because they don't serve as many people. But when you like take more than a second to think about it, it ends up being that it's more helpful and it's more personalized to people in the community, and the effectiveness of it is so much higher because they trust their local community leaders and they trust the people that are there that understand the same things they go through. So I think that's a really important thing to include in this conversation as well.
That's really good. So what skills can we bring to the table as college students?
I think definitely raising awareness about what's happening in Burma and Myanmar, and kind of, through that awareness, being able to fundraise, but also kind of, share what's happening, what can be done, what work SAW is doing, and all the search.
Really good. So what does partnership mean to you? It's a little abstract, but take your time.
I think it's centering solidarity over empathy or one big thing and bigger.
Yeah, a big thing for me is sustainability. That's why I got involved in a partnership in the first place, because it's something that really value and I see in GlobeNet. Is there anything else that you would add?
I just want a question. How long have you been partnered with SAW, with the GlobeNet chapter?
I want to say 2014.
2010.
It's 2010.
Ish. 2020-ish.
Yeah, the documents that early are kind of hard to figure out. Like documentation isn't super clear in the Houston drive.
We kind of landed on 2020, 2010-ish.
Yeah, 2010 is when we have records of. There's no like specific date that we have where like got partnered. The way it works is the GlobeNet as an organization partners you with one. So they might have that information somewhere, but I don't know. It's been so long. The partnerships usually don't last this long. Like the partnership between our chapter and SAW is one of the longest, if not the longest.
It's the longest
Yeah, it is
one
the
ever.
longest one out of any GlobeNet chapter in the country. So it has been now 11 years.
I think it's important to point out in terms of sustainability, like the longest partnership that GlobeMed has at this university. Like this is us. This is us. Next lives here.
So yeah, talking about sustainability, yeah, what we do, like our biggest contribution to the SAW, like is raising the $10,000 to $15,000. It really does help run SAW and the workshop. And as college students, you guys can see that there's like this raising awareness to our chapter, because honestly, it's like, 30, 40 might not seem like a lot, but like you guys go out, you raise awareness, and that's a really big deal. And just communication. So we really do try to be informed on what our partner does, and like, we don't want to just step in and like tell them what to do. Like that doesn't make any sense. And so we have these monthly Zoom calls talking about that. We do have one this Wednesday. You guys should totally join us. And we have the Grow internship, which we will actually talk about a lot more in the future meetings, but I'll breeze through this. So every summer we have
A number.
yeah, a number of students from chapter, and they work closely with their partner. And a big thing that they do is like help with the English language skills, and just like really work with staff students and the people there too. So yeah, that's it for the partnership presentation. I know it's a lot, but we're gonna spend the entire year making sure that you guys really know what's going on. And if you guys have any questions.
If you guys do have any questions, feel free to stick around after the meeting. We always do a collective breath. For anyone who was in our Zoom meeting last week, you're familiar with it. Does anyone have a quote they would like to share? And no, I'm gonna let you do this like tail end of the meeting.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Any quotes, anyone? Any wholesome thoughts, even a memory, a story, a very short story?
I remember my first chapter meeting my freshman year, and as I begin my senior year, I reflect on that and how much I've learned since then, and who was there in the room with me then too, and who's in the room with me now, and I'm like, that's like, wow, it's like four years, and I'm so excited to see so many faces here and people committed to GlobeNet.
I'll breathe for that.
Okay.
Okay, so if you are on the Zoom call, feel free to unmute so you feel as though you're in the room with us. And then for everybody here, as well as on the Zoom call, feel free to soften your gaze and close your eyes as we breathe in and out. Okay, so before we head out, a few quick announcements. So next Tuesday, we are actually having our first fundraiser of the year. We are having a Chipotle fundraiser, which Ariba is not here right now, but she's the one that orchestrated that. So there'll be more details, but just something to keep in mind. You can just show up, get some good food.
And what's the date on that?
Next Tuesday.
The 21st?
21st.
September 21st.
September 21st. All right, cool. I couldn't count that far ahead. It was too late.
A math major can't count?
That's not my specialty. And then other than that, I think that's the only major announcement we have.
We also, like Simia said, we have a call with our partner on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. It's at 9 p.m., right? Yes. So we'll send the Zoom link out in the group me. And if you're not in the group me, tell us and we'll add you. Same thing for the email list. If you're not on the email list, tell us and we'll add you. We'll get you after this. But yeah, I think that's all. Awesome.
Yeah, that should be everything. So yeah, the Zoom call is a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. I think one of my bigger mistakes is the first year or first time in GlobeNet was not going to any of the calls first semester because I didn't feel like I would provide anything, but you definitely can. You can definitely learn a lot there. So I highly recommend going. For a good time.
Thank you all for coming. It's just so fun.
And also, if anyone, people are meeting that are more than welcome to, right? Obviously, you won't have to meet after this, but if you have questions or you want to talk to somebody and like get to know something, when we introduced committees earlier or anything like that, please feel free to stick around and ask people or a GNIT question. That really should be it. Now you can leave.
Good work, team.
I have a question. How do people join the committee? Like, when are they going to hear about that?
Setting up committee will be the 6th.
We're going to send out a Google form in about 2 weeks. plus or minus, depending on how eager people are. And basically, you can choose committee, like a first choice, second choice, third choice there. And if you have more questions, feel free to come to our coffee with the co-pres. That's the last announcement. That's later this week and beginning next week. But feel free to text us and we'll meet up with any of you for questions. And I'm sure e-board members would also do the same. We all love talking about what we do. So yeah.
But if you have any questions about like what a committee is about, or if there's one that's like out to you, feel free to stick around and ask that person if you're a committee leader, or if you don't, ask the G9 and we can help explain that as well. But yeah, just start getting in mind like what your top 2 or 3 choices are, and maybe just keep that in the back of your mind, right? It's not a super urgent decision, but you have some time to think about it.
Yeah, also our Instagram has that like same post that explains the committees, so you should check out the Instagram and forget what they are.
Actually, good point. Any other questions or comments or anything?
If anyone would like to be censored, their voice censored from the YouTube, that's a little trickier, but we'll see. Yeah. Thank you all for coming.